Hello there, this is CJ Miller. I'm in my apartment in Shreveport, Louisiana, across the Red River from beautiful Bossier City, Louisiana. I'm in my kitchen. Tomorrow is Easter. I actually didn't want to eat a bunch. I made the meal yesterday. I had some chicken, and then today I had, uh, I guess, some beef with potatoes. But tomorrow is Easter. So it's like, oh my God, let me pull something together real quick. I have some people dropping by, just two or three people, nothing major. But I put together a bread. So this is um, a yeast, an active yeast. You want to take the yeast, put it in some warm water, and let it sit for a few moments. You know, uh, Give it a good stir. Let it get once you start to see the slight bit of maybe a bubble here. You'll see it. You'll see it. You'll know. You'll know when you see a change in the yeast. Uh, uh, it gets a little, maybe like a slight foaminess to it or something. Mine does anyway. Of course, I whisk it up, and then of course what I do is I use. And you don't necessarily have to do this, but I use a little bit of sugar in the flour that I'm working with to, you know, kind of give the yeast something to start feeding on, because this isn't from a sourdough. This isn't a dough. This isn't from a dough starter. If you use it from a dough starter, the yeast is already feeding and eating, and so whenever you go to make the dough with that starter, it's already eating. It's just going to continue to eat and make the glutens and everything like that. So this is basically kind of a combination of a yeast dough with I love to do this, uh, and I combine it with a biscuit recipe, or a quick bread recipe, which is something that you could do. Make It's basically, quick bread is basically just a large biscuit. That's the real secret behind that. But this is, I love the flavor of a yeast. So the fact of the matter is, for some reason, if the yeast did not really work in a bread like this has got some other leavening in it, and we will get a good rise out of it. But I've added, atypical to this, what I did was I put in a little bit of oil. You want the oil for the moisture, about 4 to 5 cups of flour. You have to eyeball this depending upon your humidity, your elevation, and things like that. Uh, about I didn't really measure how much sugar I put in. I just kind of sort of did it to taste with the dough. But I to the flour, and I used 2 parts self-rising flour to 1 part um, all-purpose flour, and basically got about 4 cups of flour, and then some extra flour to work with once the dough was formed. And I just eyeballed it. And what I do, kind of what I used to see my grandmother do, my dad's mother. I used to see her work out of a tin or a bowl or something, and she would basically just put her wet ingredients into the dry ingredients, make her dough, do what she needed to do, whether it was bread or biscuits or something like that. And then she really would just take her dough out of the flour, and the flour that was left in the tin was basically still quite usable. She would just put the lid back on it, slide it back under the cupboard, and that's just how she kept it. And I love that. It's very rustic. I didn't really have too many conversations with my grandmother about her baking, but I sure did watch it, and yeah. So it's fun. I think it's something that really kind of goes out and we don't really do too much of, except maybe on holidays. And especially me, I'm a single guy. I don't do a lot of baking. But anyway, in today's rushed world, it's like, oh my God. You can find these bread's really simple. It just takes time. That's what I've noticed. This has already started to puff up. And it's a heavy dough, but you want to get it to this consistency. The color in it's good. Yes, there's bits of butter in here. That butter that I folded in here, what that's going to do, as I separate this into, because this is going to swell up tomorrow. I'm going to let it sit overnight and covered up, of course, safe and everything. Uh, Once it starts to rise, and it already has started to rise, it's basically going to swell up. It's going to be twice the size of this. I'm going to put it in a large loaf pan and make one large loaf for the table for tomorrow, for my Easter meal. And then basically, yeah. You could do that, but I used extra yeast. This recipe called for about 2 tablespoons of yeast. I love the flavor of a bread that's got yeast. So I added a little bit of extra yeast also to the mix. I did the dough, and then I put a little extra dry yeast into it also. Whether it actuates or not, it gives it a little flavor that's somewhat enriching and hearty. And then, of course, the flour that I'm dusting it in is self-rising flour. That's going to help with the rise. And then so I'm putting like layers within the dough of different types of leavening. The leavening agents are mixed in some places, and in some places they're layered. So we're going to get different with this bread. We're going to get different textures within the bread. So it's going to be very rustic. I'm probably talking and thinking way too much about it, but look how wonderful. We're getting some beautiful swelling out of this already. Just sitting here watching and reworking with this. After about an hour or so, I'm going to come back over. I'm going to knead this down, and then basically set it aside and let it go until I'm ready to cook, and that's going to be some time tomorrow. It's about 45 minutes to midnight, so it wouldn't be so at least 12 hours this thing's going to sit. So it's going to be a really, really good broken down bread. This recipe doesn't require milk, but I did put a little bit of milk in the dough because I feel that gives it a smoothness, not too much, maybe about half a cup. So I will, at one point, refrigerate it. Now, the thing about it, I want to wait and let this get a good rise and get to where it's going. But the thing about taking a dough and putting it aside to cool in the refrigerator, it slows down the rising process. And depending upon if it gets too cool, it actually can stop it. So you want to be aware of that. And if you do cool your dough, then you want to take it out of the refrigerator a few hours before baking, so that you can keep an eye on it. And that's to keep the leavening going, the rise. So typically it's not that complicated. Something else I added to this dough, I added, you can do this with bread. You can put additives to your bread. I put in just shake down a little bit of an Italian seasoning blend to the bread, just to give it a little personality. It's a dinner bread. I'm also going to make a cake. I'm not going to do the video for the cake right now. It's basically just out of a box. But if you wanted to do a cake recipe, here's something really simple. You can use 2 cups of 2 cups of self-rising flour. You could use all-purpose. You would just have to add some leavening to it. But you could use 2 cups of self-rising flour, 2 cups of sugar, 2 cups of milk, 2 eggs. It's a simple ratio thing. 2, 2, 2, and 2. And then that would be your cake. And then what you do is you would just come up with your buttercream icing or something like that, whatever you pull together. To that cake recipe, 2, 2, 2, and 2, you could add the additives, maybe some chocolate chips or chocolate sauce or caramel or something like that. That's wonderful. You actually could do that with bread. I've done that. I've added chips. You can add very sweet things like a good drizzle of caramel and have like a ribbon of caramel baked into your bread. And it gives it just like you eating like a real savory bite, and then all of a sudden you come across this layer of sweetness, and it's like, oh wow, cool. But you want to serve that as maybe like a tea time or something like that, rather than a table bread. Do it as kind of a snack or a tea time or something like that. Okay, so enough about breads. I love you guys. I've gone on for about 10 minutes. Peace, God bless, love and light. Check back tomorrow for the finished product. Also on the menu, there'll be some lamb chops that I'm just going to do in a simple BBQ sauce flavor, just real simple. And then I'll kind of braise them on the stove with some barbecue sauce. Real simple. And the reason why is because I'm having it, one of the persons that's coming over, I'm not sure if she's overly familiar with lamb chops. And the lamb chops or have naturally just a stronger flavor than beef or pork or something like that. So I want to make sure that if she deigns to try some, that there'll be a familiarity to the flavor, to the strong flavor. And so that's why I'm opting for barbecue. But I'm going to do some other things too. There'll be some sausages, some other familiar meats. And it's just enough to, one of these things that I like to get together and cook, and then whatever's left over I get to have for the next few days, whatever. But I'd like tell people, listen, I've been like, from now on, you guys got to bring your own to-go containers back with you, because I've sent out so many to-go containers for food to go, and it's like, wow, these things it's kind of getting expensive to do that. So, be prepared for your own to-go. That's what I let people know, even on holidays. What else? I don't know. You could add an egg or something with this if you felt like you needed binding. You really won't. The glutens are going to do this, and the little bit of sugar is going to help bind, and everything is bread. It's going to swell up. It's going to be great. If this were more of a cake, then maybe you'd want to do an egg to bind. You don't necessarily have to. I actually have some in the fridge. I'm going to add some to the bowl that I make the cake with, that I'm fixing to do. But like I said, that's it's a Betty Crocker, whatever. Big secret there, right? I'm not even doing anything special. I'm just gonna make the cake and frost the thing tomorrow. And woo. Okay, I love you. God bless. Love and light. Peace. Good night.